then. Maybe we'll have to do a part two then if it doesn't
Okay,
work out.
I'm down.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off by asking you how to say your name, just to make sure that I've been saying it right.
Zack Telander. Like
Telander.
Telander,
That
yeah.
is what I've been saying, but I never know if it was right, man.
Most people say Telander, and I don't really care. Like, I don't really correct people. Seriously. I've
And
been called that my whole life. So,
you're from Chicago, you say.
yeah. So I was actually from the burbs. And then when I graduated college, I moved downtown. I was there for 3 years. And then I moved out to Texas for a job at Texas A&M. And then stuck around College Station, which is where Texas A&M is. And then I slowly worked back into weightlifting. I'd always been weightlifting. I was a CrossFit coach for a while, and then
Yeah.
I kind of branched off of that in 2013 and into weightlifting, and it's just always been around in my life. So when I wanted to start making content,
Yeah.
I always like fitness and strength and conditioning has always been so prevalent in my life that I started making content. And one of the commenters, it was just kind of like, hey, here's my life type of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the commenters was like, your life isn't really that interesting. Why, like, what are you an expert in? Or like, what's your mission? Like, what's your goal? Why are we going to watch? And I actually really liked that he said that. And I was like, well, something that I actually have expertise in. And like a lot of people in the CrossFit world and even the weightlifting world were like, they came to me for help with weightlifting. So all I did was like pen and paper, and I wrote out like one of my first videos, and then I
Yeah.
voiced over and then put videos on top of it. People seem to like it. And I just
I
made a
love your
video.
videos.
Yeah, man, I just made a video a week for 3 years. I didn't stop
That's
for 3 years.
that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Yeah.
amazing. I
Well,
think it's really good that you actually, I don't know if his comment was meant to be constructive or hurtful, but I think it's really cool that you took it and
it's the internet. So it's like
yeah.
a lot of times for people to like, they need that wall
Hmm.
to speak their mind. And when they do speak their mind, a lot of times they were mad that what they saw wasn't good. So they're going to actually be more offensive,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And like I am sympathizing with the enemy here, the person who's a commenter, who has all the answers, but will never be able to do it themselves. But I did sympathize with that, and I took something from it. Like, what are you an expert in, and what can you help people with? And it's like, what are you an expert in, and how is it? How can you package it in a way that other people would be able to consume? And whether that audience is broad or not, your depiction of it could be something really great.
100%.
And it was, for me, it was like I had some ideas that hadn't really been like on the internet before, and
Yeah.
people liked it. So I was lucky enough to, with that first video, it was like 3 things to focus on when you're snatching.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to have good feedback from that. Like, I think I got like 1,000 views, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. At the time, uh, when I got a YouTube subscriber, I would get an email, and it was like
Yeah.
the coolest thing. I got like 25 emails.
Yeah.
So I
That's
was
cool,
like,
man.
I'm going to keep doing this forever and ever and ever. And it was just one a week. That was it.
That's important though, that consistency. I talk about that
Yeah.
a lot. People, they put out like 3 things and they're like, damn, I'm not getting any viewers. And then they don't put anything out and they complain that they don't have any viewers and subscribers, but they're not really giving anyone anything to come back for, right? So
Yeah. And it's like, it's tough though. Like, I'll keep saying it, man. I was lucky. Like, I think everything ended up working out for me the right way. I edited videos since I was like 14 years old. That was what I wanted to do. I went to school for film and television studies. So when it came to like video production, I already had that background,
Yeah.
and every class that I ever took with my one teacher in high school was like, I had this like really awesome 15-minute video that I worked so hard, and he's like, great, make it 4.5 minutes,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
And so everything, I was just conditioned to make it smaller, more consumable. What words are you using? How few words can you use? Kind of like that Hemingway style approach.
Yeah.
My father is a writer. He's written tons of books. He's a sports writer as well.
Hmm.
In Chicago, he's a very well known sports writer, and nationally too. And he's a huge Hemingway fan, and he hates cliche.
Yeah.
Uh, he doesn't really like to use idioms. He wants to be different, but he also wants to be very simple. Something that
Interesting.
something that can't be explained simply and and consumed by a lot of people isn't worth saying to him. And so like
Mm.
I had just rewired my brain to be like that from day one.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I think maybe that's something. If someone out there wants to make content, like why are you making a 28-minute video? Like
It's true.
take the minute portion where you explain something and make it 10 seconds.
Yeah. I agree with that. Sometimes I watch videos and I'm just like, fuck, bro. I wish he would have just said this part at the beginning, because I kept waiting, wondering why this video is 9 minutes, and then it gets to the end and it's like, do this thing. And I'm like, bro, you didn't even have to make this fucking video. You could have posted this as a text or some shit. You know what I mean? So
Well, is this person more prevalent?
it's just random. It just depends on
So
who it
like
is.
I'm somewhat guilty of this these days, but like my
But it's
videos,
different though.
I made a rule where like I would not exceed 5 minutes.
I
Like
was gonna
I
say
wouldn't.
it's different when you're ZT, you know what I mean? When you get
That's
to a
yeah,
stage, because
yeah,
people want to just hear you talk about fucking anything, right?
yeah.
So,
But
but
that
yeah,
took a long
yeah.
time, man. That took a long time. I made this rule. I mean, I wouldn't have a video that's longer than 5 minutes for years.
Mm,
And then I started slowly making longer videos. And I find right now my moneymaker videos are like 8 minutes to 10 minutes long.
that's a good time.
Sometimes they get up to 18 if I have like something really special. But
Yeah.
I really don't try to push that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good time. I actually I would say I've seen a lot of your videos, and it doesn't feel like I'm watching it for a super long time, and it also doesn't feel really short. Like you said, I think like that 8 minute mark is kind of perfect. Even though I had seen, that 242 by Ilya, that whole competition, I've seen that so many times. Your commentary and talking about the angles and shit, and it was just a perfect amount of time. Like I watched the competition again. I'm like, it's cool to see these lifts again, but also you didn't just like play the lifts and them walking around and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was short, but it was also long enough so that it was entertaining. You know what I mean?
So I stole that format from this guy called John Boy Media.
I saw someone say that in the comments, and I
Yeah,
didn't know
man.
who that was.
Let me tell you, John Boy Media might be my favorite channel on YouTube right now.
What is this? What is the content? I've
So
never heard of it.
it's just he takes the freakiest things in any sports now, like
Mm-hmm.
the funniest, freakiest events in any sports, and he breaks them down. So
Okay.
like, and they're like honestly maybe 2 minutes to maybe like most of his videos are like 2 minutes to 5 minutes long, and they're so well done, and it's
Are
just
they funny, or is it like real
yes,
sports commentary?
they're funny, but they're also like what's actually happening, like
Mm,
after the fact. There was I don't know if you saw like the overtime thing with Bowling Green where they were on the field,
yeah,
like the football game where like the team was running on the field and the play was still live. Like
I
he
remember
broke
that.
that
Yeah.
down, and it was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, what could I do? And I might start doing that more. Like I want to break down like really funny strength sport things that happen, like or
Yeah.
not even funny, just quirky, like
Mm.
weird events. that
Yeah.
happened. So, but yeah,
That's
man,
interesting.
that's how I kind of came to be. That's more or less my history. But
I'm gonna look that channel up. And I was gonna say earlier, I don't really think there's anything wrong with like copying someone's format, honestly. Honestly, I think that's what stops a lot of people from creating content. They're like, fuck, this dude already did this thing. But you're a totally different person. You'll have a different perspective on it. You'll say different things, even if you copy their format. You know what I mean?
I actually I heard this somewhere and it's definitely stuck with me. Is success comes from creativity, and no one can say that no successful human could ever say that they're not creative. So even if you're a lawyer, engineer, doctor, things that people would say are not creative fields,
Mm-hmm.
they're just wrong because you are doing something that a lot of people have done for a long period of time. You're a lawyer, right?
True.
You're a doctor, but what are you doing differently? Or how are you doing that thing that everyone else is doing? What's making you different?
Yeah.
And whatever that is, these people have learned how to market themselves. I mean, insurance salesmen, real estate agents, the best ones are the most creative.
That's
And
true.
so they're closer to an artist, they're closer to a painter, than they are a clerk at a desk,
Yeah.
who's just trying to make a buck. And so that's something that like always stuck with me. It's like, yeah, you're going to do the same thing that everyone else has done. I mean, maybe you do something different, but who cares if you do the same thing? It's not like everyone's seen every piece of content on earth. Like
Yeah.
my
No,
thought
that's true.
process was like, if you're in weightlifting, like, yeah, you've definitely seen this competition before. Like
Right.
100% you've seen it. Right. But
Definitely.
if you're a new beginner to weightlifter, or maybe you just like strength sports, or you like like the gym, here, check this out.
Yeah.
So I think to anyone out there who's looking to make content, like don't allow that bullshit excuse of like, oh, it's been done before,
Mm-hmm.
to stop you from going and doing it yourself.
That's good, man. Yeah.
It can always be more consumable. It can always be more simple. You got to have that Hemingway approach.
Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway, like
I was gonna
famously,
say you really like Hemingway, huh?
well, he famously had sentences like the dog was lying there and it was cold. Like 3-word sentences that like were grammatically incorrect or things like that. But they would create this stark reality that just fits so well with his writing style. It was kind of the anti, like, I think the writers at that time, like F. Scott Fitzgerald, like it was anti that. It was anti the color and creativity. It was the
Yeah.
hardness and the simpleness that attracted people.
Well, so that's another thing too, right? You know, I guess like you don't know what people are gonna want to hear or see, so you might think that everyone wants to see this thing, and then you come with something that contrasts that, and it turns out that people really want to see that. You know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah.
like what you just said. Maybe you think no one wants to read these simple sentences, and then you put out simple sentences, and everyone's like, "Wow, that's fucking amazing! Like this is what we wanted to see."
You can only really be yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
You really can. I mean, that's because in the long run, if you're playing another part, if you're playing the part of someone else, it's going to catch up to you, or you'll become that person that you're playing.
For sure.
So like it is difficult though, kind of having this identity. I mean, I'm not going to complain about where I'm at. I have a decent following, and I'm able to make a living off of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it definitely gives me a bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, rather than thinking what does Zach want and who is Zach, I think what does everyone else want, and
Right.
that's a tricky one to handle for sure. So that's
Yeah,
why,
that's tough.
like, I like to generally, like, I like podcasting and stuff because I like to talk about life. I like to talk about what things have I learned in strength and conditioning and fitness and the culture that surrounds it, and how has it led me to be successful in everyday life with my friendships and my relationships? How is it negatively affected my life? I love talking
Okay,
about that stuff.
let's talk about that. How has it negatively affected your life? This is
Well,
gonna go in a totally different direction than I thought in my head, but this is great. I like this that
Well,
we're
so
just
how like, yeah, I think everyone can say like, oh, it's positively affected my life because it's allowed me to be regimented. It's allowed me to have goals. Like, I'll say quickly how it's made my life positive and or how it's impacted me positively, and then I'll say why it's negatively. Positively, it's like I don't miss training. I just don't. Like, I just train pretty much every fucking day. And
yeah,
I've done that since I was 14 years old.
same.
I'm just psycho like that. That's just right. So
Me
like,
too.
so even if I don't eat right, even if I'm up late, even if all of the other shit is not there for me, which is commonly happening, guys, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I wake up at this time. I always make my bed. I always do this shit. I
Yeah,
fuck up on those things, but it doesn't matter. I'm training because like, if I don't train, I'm going to kill myself or someone.
yeah,
Right now, not that extreme, but I'm just gonna become depressed, and I'm gonna have no purpose in life.
yeah.
So that's it. That's the one thing, like the main thing for me. Sometimes, I'd say more than sometimes, actually, I will sleep properly, I'll eat properly, and I'll try to maintain the relationships that I can so that I have less in stress, so I can train better. So in
Hmm.
that sense, it ends up making my life better. But a lot of the times I don't. And that's basically why, like, I would say the negative thing is the avoidance of the self, right? It's like, why do I train all the time? And the answer is like, well, because I'll go crazy. It's like, well, why would you go crazy without something?
Mm.
You know, you have to be able to maintain your brain without the need of anything external. And to openly admit that for the last 16 years of my life that I absolutely needed to train or else I would go crazy, that's admitting to a massive flaw.
Do
So,
you think that's a flaw though?
well, to a certain extent, yes. I mean, you have to address your brain without the needs for external things. You have to. And I think as you get older, you might not be able to recover as fast. You might relax more. You might, and maybe that absolute addiction to training starts to go down a little bit. I've
Yeah,
definitely felt it. How old are you?
28.
So I'm 30, right? And
Mm.
I've already started to feel it. Like at 28, I started to feel like, okay, I could chill a little bit more here.
Yeah.
Um, and the only reason I think of all of that being negative is because it like it's kind of this childlike wonder that needs to get squashed in order for you to be more of a man.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times over time that sort of scared of what's inside you, the like monster inside you, like that's being scared of it, so you have to go do things like train and party, or to me and you, training is like to the college frat guy who just graduated, who has no purpose in life. That's his drinking on the weekends and becoming an alcoholic without actually knowing it. Those are a lot of my friends from high school,
Yeah,
like that they and or to someone who just like is into drugs, whatever. That's our training. Yeah, it's probably better to be training than to be doing drugs and alcohol,
yeah,
right?
for
And
sure.
so in that's, I mean, I'm being very picky here,
Yeah,
but the man that doesn't address these things early enough on is doomed.
for
And that's
sure.
why I truly believe that. I mean, I'm growing every day, man. I can't pass judgment on people. I've made too many mistakes in my life,
Yeah.
and what scares me is being a 35-year-old man making the same mistakes I made when I'm 30.
I
And
respect
a
that.
lot of times is like, if I'm avoiding the bullshit that I do when I'm 30 or that I did when I was 20, like when I get to 35, like those things are ingrained into my brain. They're going to be harder and harder to break.
For sure.
And so that's really like, that's my reasoning behind like some negative things that training has brought to my life. It's not really tangible, but it's, I feel its presence.
Okay, let me ask you this then, because I think we train for slightly different reasons. I think we do it in the same way. I think we're both kind of psycho about it. But why did you ever start working out? Like you said you started at 14 and you really haven't missed a day since. I'm like the same way, but why did you start though? I think that might be the difference.
Yeah. So my dad played football. Like my family is very, very athletic. My sisters all swam. Um, Two of them swam competitively in college. My dad played football in college and then played pro for a little bit. And then growing up, like I only played sport. Like that was the only thing I cared about was sports.
Yeah.
That was it. That was all I did. You know, I would go to like basketball practice and then I would get picked up from basketball and my mom would take me to indoor lacrosse. And then like I would just do it over and over and over again, like AAU basketball. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I got to high school, it's just I got in the weight room because that's what you did, you know, like, and I also liked it too. Like, man, you could feel your muscles changing. Like
Yeah.
you can become a different person. This is so exciting, you know?
Yeah.
So I started training for that reason. And then I that kind of went through college. I loved the weight room in college, even though I wasn't even close to the strongest dude in the weight room, not even close.
Yeah.
I loved training in college. I always felt like I got along best with the strength and conditioning coaches. Um, I always gave so much effort in the weight room. And then I actually hurt my knee in high school. So that's what, like, when I hurt my knee in high school, I was like, I'm never going to not do legs ever again.
Hmm.
And I thought that was pretty cool, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, my knees hurt. I'm not going to do anything with my knees ever. I'm not going to squat. I'm not going to do anything because it hurts my knees. It's like, no, my knees hurt. I'm only going to squat. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to protect my knees at all costs.
Yeah.
So that's really the reason. I mean, it was just sports, just sports. And then when I graduated college, it was like, man, I feel like there's still something in me. I don't know what it is. I feel like my potential is still there because I played lacrosse in college, and you know, up until that point, lacrosse was my whole life. And
Yeah.
I played Division I for 4 years at the University of Vermont. It was super intense. And then once I graduated, you know, I got a job in the city of Chicago, and I was like, so that's it? Like,
Yeah.
that's all I can do with my body? I was like, not even close, bro. I'm going to do something crazy. Like, so I started doing CrossFit.
Okay, let me ask you this because I experienced something very similar. My family is super athletic. I've been working out before even high school. My dad bought me a weight set when I was like fucking 10 years old, bro. Like I still wonder if I would have been taller if I didn't start squatting when I was like 10, you know, but I'm from Texas, bro. Everybody lifts. Like I regularly saw kids in high school bench 315 and squat 405 and shit, you know. And so I played basketball, I ran track, I ran Division I track, and it was the same thing. I got finished and I was like a regular dude, bro. And I was like, nah, like I'm an athlete. I can't be a regular guy, you know? So like my identity was being an athlete. It wasn't being Jalen Shabazz. It was like, yeah, I'm the guy that they say is really good at sports, you know? So I'm like, I need to go find another fucking sport. And I did the same thing, bro. I was in San Antonio and I saw the CrossFit games on TV. This was like what, 2012 maybe? And I was like, oh, that's it right there. I could be the
Yeah.
fittest man in the world. I'm gonna do CrossFit. And then that shit was really hard. And I was trying to snatch and I was like, why is this shit so hard? So then I said, I'm gonna start figuring out how to do Olympic weightlifting because that's the only way I can be the best in CrossFit. And then that just took me on a whole different journey. But I was just going to ask you, do you think that you went into weightlifting and stuff and CrossFit because you thought that your body had more, or did you do it because you felt like that was your identity? You had to do something with athletics. You didn't want to be a regular person.
I think innately that the latter, like if I wasn't an athlete, who am I? But I would never admit that, it was like,
yeah,
it was always like I wanted to see my potential, but that drive could have just been inbred. You know what I mean? For over years and years and years of playing sports. Like,
yeah,
I just have that drive to be like, what is my potential?
Yeah. No, for sure.
And so that's it. Like, I just want to know,
Yeah.
like I don't want to leave anything on the table for question. I want to know. And if I don't know, I'm going to give a lot of effort. And that probably came from my identity being around athletics. Do you see what I'm saying? So like they both had a place. For me, I don't think I was saying to myself, like, I'm an athlete. What am I going to do without athletics? It was, I came from like team sports. So that was like the tough thing. I think one of the big things that I kind of overlooked here was I came from team sports where I love them, right? But I never played any individual sports. Like I swam for a little bit and then I was like, nah, not for me. But something about training for an individual sport was such a magical, like such an amazing feeling to me. It felt like, honest to God, it was like for the first time, I am the one who determines my outcome in every single facet. And mind you, that's a huge like I just created this fallacy, right? Where like I wasn't able to control my outcome, on all these team sports where if I didn't perform well, it wasn't my fault. I had a team, I had coaching staff. No, I was flawed in that way.
Yeah.
You see, like I wasn't, but to know that there absolutely is no one that gives a fuck about you and your performance was like the greatest feeling in the world. So I had this intrinsic drive to be like, well, you can go to training or you cannot, but then you'll miss out, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had that in my later stages of my career in sports. And to nobody's fault but my own, obviously, it's not a good thing to come from a team sport and say, well, there's too many factors out of my hands, so, but that was kind of where I was at. And so I just loved it, man. I just loved the ability to be like, I'm going to go to the gym and make myself better because if I don't, I'll never get better. And I just wish that I had more of that when I was younger.
I think that was most of our problem in team sports. I dropped football early because I felt like the coach was fucking me over. And then later in basketball, it was the same problem. But I was never saying like, maybe I'm just not good enough and that's why he won't leave me in the game. I'm like, man, this guy fucking hates me, bro. I make one mistake and he pulls me out, but he lets this other guy do blah, blah, blah. And that's why I eventually dropped everything. And it was just only track and I didn't have anyone to blame. And I liked that because I couldn't blame anyone. I could just be like, I got smoked or I won the race,
Yeah.
And so after that, I knew I never would play team sports again. I was young. I should have corrected that mindset. But
I know, but like, here's the thing too. It's like, I would love to go back and tell myself like, hey, you're really not working. You're not just by going to practice because it's not working. That's not work. And you know what I would have said to myself? Fuck off, old man.
Yeah.
So there's no way, like, it's just, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to be a pessimist about this, but like, if I went back and told 16-year-old me, like, listen, you're not doing this, like, you think you're where blah, blah, blah. I would be like, yeah, for sure. And then he'd leave and I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then I'm doomed to fail. So what? I guess I'm a little bit more successful at 30 than I might have been when I was 16, but it's really hard to say. I think like, and I started doing jujitsu, and there's a
Yeah, I
couple
was gonna talk
things.
to you about that.
Yeah, and there's a couple things that I realized that I work with some amazing athletes, dude.
Yeah.
Somehow I fell into the going to this. I showed up to this gym. My buddy
In Austin,
Ian,
right?
yeah, my buddy Ian. He goes by Ian the Rhino. If you see him on Instagram or whatever,
Yeah, I've
he's
seen
got
that
his
dude before. Yeah.
yeah, he's super jacked and super nice dude. And he and I are good friends. He came for my birthday and he's like, dude, I've been doing jujitsu. Come with me. There's this gym that we call them professors. It's kind of nerdy and weird, but my professor said to go see this guy. So we showed up. I had a blast. I got my ass kicked by a bunch of people. And then I
Yeah.
left, and then I just kept coming back. Ian went back to Miami and I just kept going back. And, they were like, talking about strength and conditioning, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, man, that's what I do. That's what
Yeah.
I do. So like, if you guys ever want help, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And, so I exchanged a membership at the gym for all of their competitive, jiu-jitsu players to come train at, my buddy Adam's gym. And we train in the mornings, like 4 times a week. We go super hard, but that's how like my jujitsu journey has been going. It's like, one, I get a membership and I get to do this thing that I love right now. 2,
Yeah.
I get the opportunity to coach really good athletes. I'm talking like world-class athletes.
Yeah.
Like it's a dream come true. I love my life when like, I love this,
Yeah.
but something I've learned is like, cause these are kids, right? There's a 17-year-old girl. There's a 17-year-old boy. There's a 19-year-old. I mean, these like young man, whatever, 17-year-old
Yeah.
young woman,
Yeah.
19-year-old young man. And then, another 19-year-old, a 25-year-old. And then the professor, he's 39, but he's a 4th degree black belt, which in jujitsu, he's been doing jujitsu for 25 years.
Yeah.
So in jiu-jitsu, every degree is 3 years until the 4th degree, which is 5 years. So so it's ridiculous. He's had his black belt longer than I've been like lifting weights, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is nuts to think about. But yeah, so like I've been doing this and these kids, right? That's the main point, is like they're some of the hardest motherfuckers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever. 17-year-old. He fights at worlds. There's nothing that scares them. There's nothing that frightens them. And it's because like in jiu-jitsu, a lot of it is just like you're on your back, you're getting smothered by someone. Okay, let's go through the checklist. Is there any pain, like serious sharp pain to a joint? No. Can you breathe? Yes. Can you move around? Are you okay? Like meaning like, or are you going to die soon? No. Great. You're all fine.
Yeah.
Keep going. Like you're getting destroyed.
Yeah.
But you're telling yourself that it's all good.
Yeah.
Do you know how good that is for a kid? Do you know how
great.
Yeah. I never had that shit, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, but goddamn, if I did, like, who knows what kind of monster I would be.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like this, like I every time, even now, I go into the gym and I'm a little bit scared. And I don't know why. It's so silly, but it's like this ego thing, right? It's this ego thing. It's like, yeah, if a guy beats me, he beats me, but still there's something about it being like, I don't want to get beat, so I don't even want to go against him. It's like that stupid thing, that stupid ego thing that I hold on to, that if I had started doing something along those lines when I was, 5 years old or 8 years old, like some of these kids, who knows what I would be today.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, man. I hate to say it, but winning is overrated because you could win 100 times in a row against fucking nobodies that didn't challenge you, you know, and or you could lose 100 times to the best in the world. And you know, I would take losing 100 times to the best in the world than just fucking dominating nobodies. You know what I mean? So
I think winning, like, and this is great because you say winning is overrated, and it's all about context, right? Of course,
oh,
it's not overrating.
for sure.
Winning is everything, though,
Yeah,
right?
in competition, yeah. If you're aiming for it,
But winning is overrated, and in the context of what you're saying, absolutely, I agree. And here's another thing: hard work is overrated. If we're going to look at
oh, for
context,
sure,
right?
100%.
The people that think that hard work, all this shit, it's like you're not working. You know what's hard? Putting in 10 years of work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
That's hard work, dog. You think it's hard work to unrack 405 and squat it for one single and come into the gym and do it again. It's like maybe that's near your max, but I would challenge you to unrack a maximal squat. I would challenge anyone to unrack a maximal squat and say, hey, are you working hard? And have them say no. Everyone fucking works hard. You have no choice, right? It's not hard to work hard in the moment. What's fucking hard is to be there all the goddamn time.
So, I have told so many people the exact words that you just said. Like, I don't know how to get it across to some people sometimes. I'm like, bro, you think that you're working hard, and you are, but so are like a million fucking other people.
It's the lowest common denominator, working hard.
Literally. Yeah.
Showing up to the gym over and over and over and over again. That's the hardest part ever. There's no question about that. And this is the thing, like winning is overrated. It absolutely is, because you could win 10 times, but what if you lose 15? You know, like, are you able to win and then win in 5 years?
Yeah.
Whatever that win is, you know?
Yeah.
No one cares about your win streak when you were 16 years old.
Right.
We care about your win streak now, in whatever that is, you know? So I totally agree with that. And of course, people, you know, it's reading in between the lines. Winning is overrated. Hard work is overrated. Like, obviously that's not what we actually mean.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
And this is why I love podcasts and discussing this sort of stuff. It's like on YouTube, I only have 30 seconds of people's attention, and they hear me say winning is overrated, or hear you say winning is overrated. And they're like, God, this guy's a fucking idiot. Bye. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Man, you know what? You brought up jiu-jitsu. I've been to a couple of jiu-jitsu gyms. I'm not serious about it, but if I'm ever with somebody, you know, that does it and they're going, I'll be like, yeah, I'll go. And I always say I've never done it before. And so I blindside them a little bit because they think I don't know anything. And I always find it interesting that at least for a little bit of time, I'm able to overpower almost anybody in the fucking gym. Now, eventually I get caught up in their spider web and I'm too exhausted and they tap me out. But up to a certain point, like I remember maybe like a year and a half ago, I went to this jiu-jitsu gym, like 30 minutes down the street with my girlfriend. And I was going against this guy who was a brown belt. And he was like, yeah, I'll take it easy on you because you don't know anything. So he showed me, you know, some drills and shit. And I pretend like it wasn't that I pretend like I'd never done it, but I hate walking in and being like, yeah, I know about this stuff already. So I'm like, yeah, teach me like I don't know anything. Tell me what you want me to do.
That's the smart. That's how I take CrossFit classes. That's how
I'm like, teach me what you would teach anybody else. I'm like, I don't know anything. So it got me doing drills on the mat. I'm getting tired and shit. Then they're like, all right, we're going to try to implement these things that we just did. And, you know, I mean, I don't know.
So you start doing like live drilling, basically.
Yeah. And, I'm a big dude. At least I am now. And nobody expects me to have any wind, you know? And so, you know, originally I grabbed this dude's forearm and he's trying to move it. And he's literally just like, he can't move his arm out of my grip. And then so I see the look in his face and he's just like, I'm just going to wait for this dude to get tired in 30 seconds, you know? But I do a lot of cardio and I've done enough rolling that I know how to, keep my energy expenditure down so that I can last a little bit longer. And I just remember this dude, just at one point, I'm just holding both of his forearms. And he's just like, I've never felt anybody this fucking strong in my entire life. And then like I'm literally on top of this guy, and he said that to me, bro. And it was fucking hilarious because he was really good. And eventually I did get tired, and I literally just gave up because I was so fucking exhausted.
Yes. But, so that's the thing, like, he has to, the only way for him to survive is to not get tapped by you in the first moments and to conserve enough energy to tap you later. Mm-hmm. And what's weird is, like, not many people, like, I swear, I'll talk to a lot of people. Not many people are going to be like, oh, you're brand new. Like, you're going to suck in the sense of, like, the overall art, like, you're going to suck at it. Like, it's kind of like you're going to suck at CrossFit because you're going to come in here and you're going to squat 405 with ease. But the 20-minute workout with, like, 30 calorie assault bike and then, like, right into thrusters, right into muscle ups, like, you're going to get fucking smashed by that soccer mom over there or whatever.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Right. But you're going to be so good and so much better at the CrossFitter than a lot of things because you have this basis in strength. I think it's silly to think that a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot of them would be like, yeah, I don't care what belt I am. Like, there's a chance this dude could tap me, mm-hmm. There's an absolute chance. So what they have to do is just play very slow and very protective. Their whole thing just has to be being very hard to submit and then just wait and wait and wait. And then once you tire out a little bit, it becomes harder because they can start taking options away from you. I mean, that
shit is the worst feeling in the world, bro.
Yeah, no, it's the worst. When, like, my professor, like, he just takes everything away from you. And then there's nothing on planet Earth that you can do that he wouldn't know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. It literally felt like when I do that shit, bro, it feels like
he knows
I'm in a spider web.
Yeah. He moves, he knows what you're doing, so he blocks that movement even further. Right? So now you're done there. So you look for another outlet, you do the same thing. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's this tiny little, needle, the eye of a needle. That's the whole, that's where you have to escape.
Yeah.
And as soon as you don't make it through on the first try, which is impossible to do because he's so good, if you don't make it there, he blocks it. And then there's another one that, and then that's it. You just keep doing that until he feels like he wants to submit you.
Yeah.
It's like the worst thing ever. And, but, the reason why I'm so attracted to this is, first off, it's a new skill. I'm kind of tired of using the weight room to get healthy or to lose body fat. Like, that's the main thing. Like, maybe not healthy in the sense that I get injuries from doing this.
Yeah.
But if I want to change my body composition, if I want to focus more on, like, cardiovascular health, I want to get something out of it. So boxing, martial arts, they're fantastic outlets for that. I don't
100%.
So I don't know if I'm going to go back to CrossFit. Like, I always have a soft spot for it. Like, if I just want to get in shape, like, I'll never compete, and it's not the way that I feel about weightlifting. But as an outlet, it's just not as cool or as interesting to me as any of the martial arts, like wrestling, boxing, or jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's what are your plans in jiu-jitsu? What do you want to do with it?
I competed, and it was a lot of fun. And I want to keep competing, I think. And
you have a big goal as far as competition? You have anything you want to achieve? No?
Nah, I hate goals, dude.
Why, bro?
Because the only goal for me is just to be better than I was before. Like, that's it. And
that's a goal. That is a goal.
Yeah. So, but there's no spot that I want to be ever. And in anything in my life is so weird, man. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? For 5 to 10 years? I'm like, hopefully happier.
Yeah.
Hopefully more money.
But that to me, that is a goal. I mean, I tell people to make goals and, put an end point and have it like very clear. But if that's the way that you want to live your life, you're still taking the steps forward. You just don't have an endpoint. And I think sometimes the problem with endpoints is you get there faster than you thought you were gonna get there, and then you have like fucking nothing because you didn't make a plan to
Or
go past that.
or you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel and you say, this isn't for me.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean? You're not seeing the progress, so you just go, oh, I can check this off the box, or I can
Yeah,
check this box and be like, oh, this is not for me. I'm done.
yeah.
So, but
Well,
I
I think.
wish
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I you know I really don't. I really have never had any goals like. I just want to. I just want to improve at anything that I do. Like, and to try and make it more tangible is really difficult. But here's something. It's like I want to get closer with the people that I'm close with. Like I want to, and this isn't jujitsu or whatever, but my friends who I've established as my friend as such, I want to morph those relationships into something a little bit deeper,
Yeah,
something more more intense, because that's going to be what changes my life, and that's going to be what's important. Like that's my legacy really, right? Is like
yeah.
the relationships that you foster and the people
That's
that know
funny. I
you.
was gonna ask you that question. So
So that's one, probably the biggest one for me. And then understanding my own ego more and really diving inwards.
yeah,
I really want to take steps to do that, but that's probably the scariest one for
that
sure.
is scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a bit of a like corny job interview question, but if you had to go back, to that 16-year-old you or 14-year-old you, or it doesn't even have to be you, it can just be any fucking kid that is like getting into training, starting their life really, because I feel like high school is kind of like when your life is starting. In one sense, like you're figuring out who you are and you're starting to take the journey that will probably lead you to where you are, like when you're 25 or 30 or something. What do you tell that kid about what they should be focusing on as far as like mentally or physically, like about their training, about how they see their training, about how they see life, period? What do you tell them?
Oh man. So again, I like I said before, whatever I tell that kid, it's going to be in one ear and out the other.
So
Because
you
that's
don't think
how.
there's any way you could reach that kid?
No, well, probably not. No. But if
Okay.
there was, if there was like a tactic, I would say, I would talk to my parents. I would be like, listen, your son needs help in this area, this area, this area. I would outline all of it, and I'd be like, he's got to come with me and train with me, and like I'm going to teach him how to be a man and how to be more successful. And the process that I would take would be like, you know, caring about what other people think. Uh, it's utterly meaningless.
Yeah.
And you right now are almost all of your mind is made up on that. When you're at your best, this was when I was 16, right? When I was at my best was when I was on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give a shit what anyone thought. I didn't really care about anything. I was so in the moment. When I was at my worst, I was with all my friends, caring about what everyone else thought of me, you know, um, creating memories that didn't last,
Yeah.
that were, it was like, and more importantly, like alcohol and drugs, like go do them if you want, but just
Mm-hmm.
know that you won't be able to train as
Yeah.
hard as you can.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. It's like, if I'm standing across from you, if anyone's standing across from you and you aren't training hard, they're going to beat you and they're going to beat you. They're going to eat you up. Do you want that? Like, that was the thing that I was sold when I was younger. It's like, don't party, don't do drugs, don't have sex, don't stay up late because it's bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck if it's bad for me, dude. I'm 16 years old. What the fuck are you talking about? I eat donuts. I don't give a shit if anything's bad for me. Tell me something that I'm scared about. If you tell me that I won't be able to train right for football, or if you tell me like, hey, like, you know, we're going to bench your ass.
Yeah.
I'm going home. I'm going to sleep, dude.
Yeah.
Also, if you tell me that like girls don't give a shit about any of that, they just have guys that they like you don't have to fucking listen to anyone else. You don't have to listen to any of your friends who want to go out and party. If you want to go hook up with girls, just have them over to our house. I don't give a shit. You know, stuff like that. It's like I did so much bullshit for other people when I was in high school, when I was little, that I just, you know, to nobody's fault but my own. I'm not a victim of this shit. Like, not at all. I was just a simple-minded idiot. And that's why I kept saying, is like, man, you could tell me all this shit and I would say it would go in one ear out the other. But at some way I would need to figure that out. I think maybe like wrestling or jiu-jitsu or hockey or something where it's like you get your ass beat every day. That might have helped me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
That's interesting. I think my dad did a really good job of doing for me exactly what you were just talking about. My dad would literally tell, like, this is not a joke. I'm gonna make my dad sound really crazy right now. Only probably my family and my girlfriend knows this. My dad would walk into my room every morning at 5 a.m. because he was in the Army, so he would get up to go work out. He would open my door, turn my light on, and he'll be like, I was just training while you were sleeping. Somebody else is going to do that, and they're going to beat you. And he would turn my light off and close the door. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? He would do that every single day. But I would be thinking, I'm like, damn, some kid that's like in poverty or some shit probably is working out right now because he's trying to make it, and I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? And I've grown away from that mindset now. Now I'm like, I can work out at any time of the day. But it used to bother me. I used to be like, fuck, I'm sleeping in. It's people out working out that are going to smoke me on the track. They're going to beat me in basketball. They're going to whatever. So I think my dad did a good job of appealing to me as far as making me work hard. Because you're right. If you would have just told me, oh, like sleeping in is lazy, I'd have been like, I don't give a shit. I'm a lazy person. Now what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think, there's diminishing returns to that, you know, to that lifestyle being so rigid, so, you know, the kid that lashes out against that.
Yeah,
we've all heard about that. But maybe I could have used a little bit more of that in my life. That's for damn sure. Fuck, man.
So what are you going to do? Do you plan on having kids? This is a super personal question. Do you plan on having kids?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. That's what,
let's say
that's what humans do, you know, like I always,
so
it's like, but that's what we do. We grow up, we have children, like what, you know, so
hey,
I
some
always
people don't want to have them. So I just got to make sure you say yes before I continue with the questions. Okay. You have kids. What are you going to try to do for your kid? Boy or girl?
I am going to try to involve myself in their social life more. And I know that's going to sound crazy.
You gonna go to parties with them?
No. But I'm going to be like, you know, my dad and I, like, it wasn't, and I don't want to be critical of him because I would never change anything about him. He's like my fucking hero, you know?
Yeah.
But like, if there was a way for it to just be him and I versus the world, like, just, you know, like, I don't know how that would work out. I'm trying to play it out, but it was like, for me, I'm always going to say this. I just cared too much about what people thought of me. And it really negatively affected my childhood. It really did. And that's a flaw that I'm not going to blame on anyone. Like, I can't. That's not fair. Right.
Yeah.
To be like, all the bad things I did in my life, it's just because I cared what everyone else thought and I wanted to be a part of the group. Like, No, dude, I made conscious decisions to be a fuckhead a lot of times.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to understand is how can I get my kid to never do that or not be like that? And it's hard. It's hard to think about because I can't pinpoint. You know, I was like only a kid. I wasn't fucking putting a pad to paper and being like, "Dad, you're not doing this right. You're not doing that right." You know,
Yeah.
I
I
was a
think
kid. I don't know what he did right or wrong. I don't know. I don't. I think I turned out all right. Right. I'm just being very
yeah.
picky at this point. But
I don't think it's being picky. I think it's just, it's just reflection. You're just trying to figure out what can you do better. In the same sense that we do that for training with jujitsu or weightlifting or whatever, you're saying, what can I do better for the future? How can I improve for tomorrow, right? So if you can do something better for your kid, it doesn't mean that your dad did a bad job. It's just like, hey, you gave me this foundation and I'm going to improve on it, right? So I think the same thing all the time. Whenever I talk about my dad, any of the stuff that he did, I'm like, I don't want to say that it was bad because he was doing the best that he could. And I think he did a really good job. But that doesn't mean I'm going to do all the same shit that he did for my kid because I think there's some things that I could do better that he just didn't know could be done better at the time.
yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think that would be my exact approach as well.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit more structure, a little bit more rigidity with my father, and maybe
See,
less so.
I think we're the opposite.
Exactly.
I think my dad was too military, bro. Like I
Yeah.
just was like, it was like my house was almost a prison, you know. And I can say I didn't care what other people thought because I wasn't a loving home. And like my dad was my hero as well. And he drilled in me from the very moment that I could think that I was me and everyone else was trying to be like other people. And he basically said that they were going to have identity crisis. Like he said, all of his friends, when they left high school, kind of the shit that I described about myself, he was like, they based themselves on being athletes and being popular. And then they couldn't figure life out. And he would tell me, don't do that. Be good at a bunch of different stuff. Be an athlete, be smart, be whatever, be your own man. And you can do whatever. The only part that I never really got a grip on, like I said, was separating myself from the athlete part. Like to this day, bro, I don't care who it offends. I'm just like, bro, if something happens to me and I can't use my body, like fucking kill me, bro. Like I know that's really bad, but I'm like,
kind of in the same place, man.
Yeah,
when I get injuries now, it's like the same fucking thing. Like I start losing this battle with who I am just from an injury.
It's tough,
30,
bro.
Yeah. Like I got this rib injury right now and I can't, I can train pretty well and but I'm like, God damn, like I'm not able to find my potential. Like I still have that crazy drive that just like doesn't make any logical sense at all. Not at all. We're addicts, bro. It's like, it's fucked up. It's like, I don't know how else to describe it, but, there's a lot of guys out there, a lot of philosophers who are like, they say to not find your potential physically is more or less like a sin or like, it's like the greatest tragedy of all,
I think I agree with that, man. And I think, like I said, it depends on the way you look at it. Like I think the way you're describing it, it almost makes it sound bad. But when we think of like monks and shit like that, we're like, yeah, they're so fucking dedicated. Like they found fucking peace or whatever. Like they really spent all this time just making their body and mind as strong as possible. I don't really think that's a bad thing. And like you said, you could be doing way more destructive shit, bro. So
for sure.
I think
for sure.
Yeah. And especially for you, for me, our addiction is serving other people while we're doing that. We're helping other people get more healthy, more fit, get better at their craft. So I don't think maybe there is some badness to it, but I don't think it's as bad as you might think because
I think
if you weren't that addict, then we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't reach the people that we're going to reach with this conversation and help them, so
the two those are two things for me. It's like just physical activity and just my physical body, and then the ability to just talk with some level of eloquence and simplicity, but to reach like deeper levels of conversation with people. Like that's something that I crave so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm willing to go I'm willing to go to like any length to have that. That's what I
Yeah.
search for in like a partner, you know, is like someone I can just talk with.
Yeah.
Just talk for like hours with about like anything, politics, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like why I love podcasts like these, dude. It's like
me too, bro. That was one of the things that made me when I first started being a full-time personal trainer, it was about fitness more than right now is conversations like these, bro. Sometimes my clients aren't even fucking lifting, bro. We're talking like this for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, dude, we're not even doing our session. Like, we're just fucking talking, bro. But I love that shit, bro. I get a new client and it's a totally different person than before. And I get some new story about his journey in life. And I hear some like totally different perspective. And they might not even be an eloquent speaker. They might not consider themselves super intelligent. They might not be seen as super intelligent, but they have a view on life that I'm like, bro, I've never fucking heard anyone say that before. You know, and it's
I'm definitely I know exactly what you're talking about. I've actually a lot of times those people have like some of the most brilliant shit to say. Even if they don't speak, you know, with some sort of high level of, you know, a vocabulary or anything like that. Not even just maybe they're not confident with the way they speak, but they've found something out. They've made their way through this life. Like, dude, anyone that can make it through this life is a hero of mine.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like anyone that can just day in and day out wake up and go to sleep and like get it done. Mm-hmm. Like I'm proud of them. And I have a ton of respect for them. Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they're not addicted to drugs, if they're not an alcoholic, if they're not abusive, if they have decent relationships with people, if people will say nice things about them, dude, that's the type of person that I will have undying respect for. And those people exist like without prevalence in our lives. And you know what's funny is like I was a personal trainer too at Gold's Gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that exact same way. I absolutely did. So it ended up being like not therapy sessions, but just like
no, that's what it is, bro. It is. It is really a therapy session. Literally, actually yesterday, one of my clients said that. He was like, I feel like you're my therapist right now. And I'm like, I feel like I'm your therapist too, bro. I shouldn't say that. I'm not allowed to be your therapist, but that's what this feels like. You know, we're talking about some deep shit, bro, like his relationship with his daughter and shit. And I'm like, this is deep for a bench press session, bro. Like, you know, so.
I don't know. I'm not afraid to go there with people. I'm really not. And
I'm not either, bro.
I'm not afraid to go like the distance when it comes to like conversating with people. Like if I trust them and I feel that trust, like I'll talk about anything, dude.
Definitely, bro. I'm the same way.
You
said about. Oh, go ahead.
I used to just lie straight up. Are you doing good? Are you doing good? Yeah. Like, how are things with you and so? Like, they're good when we've broken up or, you know, like, how's this going? And I would be like, oh, no, that was nothing when it absolutely is something, you know? Yeah. Because I was just scared. I don't want the pressure of someone else looking at me or thinking about me like at all. Little did I know that that's more of a selfish endeavor than actually just telling the truth straight up.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny when you do that, depending on who it is, like I don't want to like brag, but I'm good at reading body language, right? And anytime my people, I'm like, how are you doing? And they're like, oh yeah, things are fine. I'm like, that was a weak ass fucking tone of voice that you just used. I don't believe you, you know? And then all it takes is just like a second question and people usually, you know, spill it and they're relieved to spill it. I just find a lot of people don't have somebody to talk to, bro. Like they want to say all the shit. Maybe they want to have a long conversation like we're having right now, but there's literally no one in their life that will sit down and listen to all the shit that they have to say, bro. It's pretty fucked up.
I one time went into my DMs. I get so many DMs, and it's all from like 14 to 35-year-old men who are just like
Yeah.
want to train better, and a lot of them are lost, like for real.
Yeah.
You
For
know,
real.
and they don't know what to do. But there's this one kid. He's like, "Hey man, first off, I just want to say like I love your channel, I love your content. I've been following you a long time. But I have no one to talk to. I started doing personal training. I'm out in the Houston area because I was in College Station. He's like, I'm out in the Houston area. I'm doing personal training. I got this job. I got these things, but I don't know what's going on in my life. Like, I just have this depression and this suicidal thoughts." And I was like, this was in my DMs in like the requested thing. And I go, "Hey man, like, first off, appreciate you for reaching out. Thanks for watching all my stuff. Like, I'm sorry to hear all that. Like, I'm here if you want to talk. Here's my number." And he texted me, and then I was like, and then I just called him, and then we talked for like 2.5 hours that day. And
That's dope, bro.
I can't even tell you his name
Yeah.
right now. I have no idea what his name is. I forgot it. But like, I just remember like seeing that and immediately being like, you know, if he lifts weights, he's a personal trainer, like all this shit, like, fuck, who am I to not give him the time of day, you know?
Yeah.
So that was something was like, I don't know, maybe I changed that kid's life. Maybe I didn't, but it was, for me, it was like, man, I fucking hope someone would do that for me.
Yeah. You know, it's really weird, man. Anytime I respond to people's messages, like random people like that, and they're like grateful that I replied to them, I'm like, bro, like we're just both human beings. I'm just like, what kind of people are they messaging that they feel grateful that I replied to them? I'm just like, bro, I wouldn't ignore your message if I saw it. If I didn't see it, it's just different. But if I see anyone's message, I'm gonna reply to it just because like I'm just a fucking person, bro. I'm not
like,
that shit's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's really cool that you actually talked to him. And yeah, like you said, maybe you changed his life, maybe you didn't, but the fact that you took the time to do that is really cool, man. I respect that for real.
Yeah, because I just know how much I would have killed to have had something like that happen for me. I've been in the same situation, you know, I've been in really bad places in my mind.
Yeah.
And like, dude, anyone that I like remotely looked up to at all, if I had that ability to just talk to them, oh my God, it'd be a dream come true. It feels so nice.
Yeah.
So the fact that this kid was a fan or anything like that, I was like, it was a no-brainer.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I respect that for real. That's really cool. Man, I forgot what line of conversation led us here, but it doesn't even matter. That was some good shit, man.
Yeah, man.
We gotta do this again. This is our first real conversation we've ever had.
So. Yeah, it's true. We always just like shoot shit back and forth on Instagram.
Yeah, 10-second voice notes, just random messages and shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember when we started following each other.
I don't know. It's just a small world. Weightlifting is just a small world.
Yeah, for sure. And then, where do you live at right now?
I'm in Texas. I'm in Austin.
You're in Austin.
And we're having this little Armageddon right now.
I guarantee you that someone that you encounter on a daily basis, I know. Just because Texas is huge, but I grew up there, and like you said, it's a small world, bro. And especially with sports just makes it even smaller.
Yeah.
And if you're at College Station before too, I knew so many athletes that I went to school with that ended up running at College Station or Texas A&M, but in College Station. So I'm sure we probably know some of the same people. But yeah, man, if you're in Austin, I go back to Texas once or twice a year, and my family's from Killeen, so you know where Killeen's at?
Yeah, that's like an hour away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm back in Killeen, me and my brother, I go to a boxing gym in Austin. I couldn't even tell you what it's called right now, but I'm always in Austin. I'm looking to move back to San Antonio in the next 2 years. So either way, in the next couple of years, we gotta link up, man.
For sure.
Maybe I'll come to the jujitsu gym,
Oh
get
yeah, dude.
smoked.
Yeah. These
I
guys
love
are
getting my
killers,
ass
dude.
whooped.
They
I
are
love it.
they're so nice though. They're like, that they're 17, 19 years old, but they speak like they're 25. Like they got this childlike wonder about them too. It's
Yeah.
crazy to see. Crazy.
Before we finish, I was just gonna say something because you said that they're really nice. Have you noticed that the killers are always so nice, bro? Even in boxing gyms, like the dudes that will
Well,
really fuck you up, they're the nicest people, bro.
dude, it's I just saw this is like you'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah,
And a lot of these guys are. They're just, what is this skill that they have where they can literally kill someone with their bare hands?
yeah,
Probably never. Odds are they'll never use it ever.
yeah,
And that's the thing is the warrior in the garden and the last person to be the last person to go up to, let's call it like a civilian type of person or just a random person and start a fight is the one who can fight.
yeah,
Always. That's always been the case. No one, this is one of the things is like, all you have to do for self-defense to a certain extent is learn the basics and train fucking hard. And jiu-jitsu, the reason why it's so effective is because you can train hard every day and you can spar full go. You can literally go as hard as you want.
yeah.
And you can't do that in sparring, in
No,
boxing, and
no, you definitely can't. Not if you want your brain to be healthy.
they do. Sometimes they do. Like in camps,
They do.
they'll fuck people up. Like I don't know how it's legal, and I don't know how.
It's not good for your brain, bro.
Well, it's more not good for Canelo's sparring partner than it is for Canelo. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah,
Like
for sure.
he's
probably
landing
not getting
live
touched.
blows. Yeah, he's landing live blows on guys, and like they got to just keep getting that. Like this is, I don't know, it's weird. Anyways, those people, so like the people that are going to start shit on the streets, the people that are going to be assholes in public and do stupid shit, those are the last people that are going to be able to train. Because if those people walk into my gym with their attitudes and with their bullshit, they're going to be pushed right out, or else they're going to get fucking crushed.
Yeah.
And I'm talking crushed, bro.
Yeah.
Right? So that type of person never exists. So if you think about it, if that type of person never exists in
That makes sense.
martial arts, that person doesn't stand a chance against a martial artist.
Yeah. No, that
Ever.
makes
sense. So the last type of, it's just always that same way. It's like the people that are killers are always chill.
That makes perfect sense, bro. I can probably name like 10 different times that some dude came into a boxing gym talking mad shit about how many fights he's been in and how he's tough. And then he gets destroyed on purpose in sparring. Like they're like, okay, we got to shut him the fuck up. And either you're humbled by the experience and you stay and you become a nice person and train, or like you said, you get pushed out because you're not going to keep coming in and talking shit like that after you just got your ass whooped. So then they leave. And then, like you said, only the people that are not like that are still in the gym. So it's going to be a group of nice people. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense, man.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on. This was
thank you for coming, bro. Appreciate it. It was nice talking to you for the first time ever, bro. We got to do this again sometime. I'll let you know, or you let me know actually, and hopefully you get that situated over there with the heating and stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's up and running again, but I don't think it will be tonight. So,
bro, what are you? Before we hang up, what are you gonna do, bro?
My buddy's mom has a place outside of Austin city limits, so
okay,
the power grid doesn't reach her. So she's all right. So we're gonna. I stayed there a couple of nights ago. I got heat here last night. Looks like my heat's turned off tonight. So
okay, bro. I just wanted to make sure you weren't gonna freeze to death or some shit, bro.
I'm good.
All right, bro. It was good talking to you. I'll hit you up later.
Take it easy.
All right, take it easy.